Did Elvis really record a song in one take while lying flat on his back in a dark studio? Did he despise a song so much he had the songwriter physically thrown out of the recording session? And which movie soundtrack was cobbled together from old leftovers just to save a movie studio from bankruptcy? The answers are yes, and they are part of the story. The Elvis movie machine was relentless. From 1956 to 1969, he starred in 31 feature films. That meant 31 soundtracks. Hundreds of songs were needed to fill them. Most were written on demand, recorded quickly, and designed to fit a plot about a singing race car driver or a singing pineapple heir. The sheer volume of material meant a lot of it was forgettable. The formula was simple. A few upbeat numbers, a couple of ballads, maybe a silly novelty song. Most of it served its purpose, and then faded away, buried by the sheer silliness of the movies they came from. But that's not the whole story. Hidden inside those flimsy plots and colorful posters are moments of genuine musical brilliance, songs that somehow escaped the formula. Songs where Elvis, backed by some of the greatest musicians of the era, decided to really sing. These aren't the hits. You won't find Jailhouse Rock or Can't Help Falling in Love here. These are the deep cuts, the lost gems. The songs that were too good for the movies they were in. These are the forgotten tracks that prove, even when he was just going through the motions, he was still Elvis Presley. Number 20, is this the closest Elvis got to pure folk music? The song was recorded on March 18th, 1962. It was take 7 that made the final cut. The session took place at the legendary Radio Recorder Studio in Hollywood, California. As Elvis's fee for the movie this song appeared in was $500,000 plus 50% of the profits. The movie itself, however, would go on to be one of his lowest grossing films of the 1960s. The song is Follow That Dream. It comes from the movie of the same name. The film itself is a light, quirky comedy. Elvis plays Toby Quimper, part of a family of homesteaders who set up a home on the side of a Florida highway. It's pleasant enough. But the title song is something different. It's not a rocker, it's not a syrupy ballad. And it's a piece of acoustic folk pop that feels miles away from the Hollywood soundstage. The recording session for Follow That Dream was a Nashville affair, even though it was held in Hollywood. Producer Felton Jarvis brought in a core group of Nashville's A-team musicians. You had Hank Garland on guitar, a jazz-influenced prodigy. You had the great, Bob Moore on bass, who's playing to find the Nashville sound. And you had Boots Randolph on saxophone, though his contribution here is subtle. The Jordanaires, as always, provided the backing vocals, but the key to the song's sound is Elvis's own acoustic guitar. He strums it with a simple driving rhythm. It's the backbone of the entire track. The lyrics were written by Fred Wise and Ben Weissman. Weissman was a prolific songwriter for Elvis, penning or co-penning nearly 60 songs for him. He was often called the Mad Professor for his eccentric personality. Many of their songs were simple soundtrack filler, but Follow That Dream has a sincerity that most of the others lack. The message is straightforward. Follow your dream, wherever it may lead you. It's an optimistic, almost aspirational song. It spoke to the American ideal of heading out on the open road to find your own way. Elvis's vocal performance is what elevates it. He sings with a gentle, unaffected tone. There's no swagger, no sneer. It's a hopeful, earnest delivery. You can hear the influence of the folk revival that was bubbling up at the time. Artists like the Kingston Trio were huge, and their sound was based on acoustic guitars and tight harmonies. Follow That Dream fits right into that mold. It has a campfire feel, a sing-along quality. The song's placement in the movie is simple. It plays over the opening credits as the Quimper families beat up car chugs along the Florida coast. It perfectly sets the tone for their journey, but the song is better than the movie that follows. The film is a series of lighthearted misadventures. The song hints at a deeper, more profound journey. It has a timeless quality that the movie lacks, so why is it forgotten? It was a minor hit, reaching number 15 on the Billboard charts, but it was released on an EP, a short 4-song record, rather than a full album or a standalone single. EPs were a common format for Elvis movie music in the early 60s, but they didn't have the same impact as a single. The song was also quickly overshadowed by bigger hits and more dramatic movies. It got lost in the shuffle of the relentless movie schedule. As the 60s wore on, the movies got sillier and the soundtracks got weaker. A simple, honest song like Follow That Dream didn't fit the image of Elvis in a race car or on a Hawaiian beach. It was too pure, too simple, but listen to it today and you can hear the artist he was beneath the Hollywood gloss. It's the sound of a man with an acoustic guitar and a dream. Number 19, could a novelty song actually be a blues masterpiece? This song was recorded at Radio Recorders in Hollywood on February 15, 1958, just before Elvis was inducted into the U.S. Army. The female singer on the track is Kitty White, a jazz vocalist who was brought in specifically for the duet. The song's unique sound was crafted by legendary producers and songwriters Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. They initially hated the idea of working on a movie soundtrack, but were convinced by the film's New Orleans setting. The song is Crawfish. It's from the movie King Creole, which is widely considered to be Elvis's best film. He plays Danny Fisher, a troubled youth who gets involved with gangsters in the French Quarter of New Orleans. The film is a gritty, atmospheric drama. Crawfish is the very first thing you hear. It plays over the opening credits, establishing the mood of the entire movie. You know, it's not a rock and roll song. It's a slow, swampy, atmospheric blues number. Lieber and Stoller wanted to capture the authentic sound of the city. They didn't want to write another pop hit. They wanted to create a soundscape. The song is built around a simple, repetitive blues riff. Elvis sings the part of a street vendor hawking his crawfish in the early morning. Crawfish, I got crawfish for sale. His voice is low, resonant, and full of character. He's not just singing the lines, he's performing a role. Then, Kitty White's voice floats in, a high, ethereal counterpoint. She represents the city waking up, the response to his call. The interplay between their voices is hypnotic. The musicians on the track were a mix of Elvis's regular band and top session players. Scotty Moore is on guitar, but the arrangement is sparse. Ray Siegel plays the tuba, which gives the song its deep, swampy bottom end. There are bongos, a triangle, and other subtle percussion that add to the atmosphere. It sounds less like a pop recording and more like a field recording from the Louisiana Bayou. Lieber and Stoller were masters of storytelling and song, and Crawfish is a perfect example. In just a few minutes, they paint a vivid picture of a time and place. You can almost feel the morning humidity and smell the coffee brewing. It's a world away from the upbeat fun of his earlier movie songs. This was serious adult music. Elvis was completely committed to his role in King Creole. He saw it as his chance to be taken seriously as an actor. That commitment is evident in his vocal performance on Crawfish. He inhabits the character of the street vendor. It's a subtle, nuanced performance. He understood the song wasn't about him. It was about the atmosphere. He lets the song breathe. So why is it forgotten? For one, it's not a typical Elvis song. It's slow, it's strange, and it doesn't have a catchy chorus. It was never released as a single. It was simply the opening track on the King Creole soundtrack album. The album itself was a huge hit, but it was the more upbeat numbers like Hard-Headed Woman and King Creole that got the attention. Crawfish was seen as an interesting mood piece, but not a standalone song. But it deserves to be remembered as more than that. You know, it's a bold, experimental piece of music. It shows Elvis's willingness to step outside his comfort zone and try something completely different. It's a testament to the creative partnership he had with Lieber and Stoller. They pushed him as an artist, and he rose to the occasion. Crawfish is not just a movie song. It's a piece of American folk blues, a snapshot of a lost world, and one of the most unique recordings Elvis ever made. Number 18, What Happens When You Put a Great Song in a Terrible Movie. This track was recorded on October 26, 1967, at RCA's Studio B in Nashville. The session was produced by Felton Jarvis, who was trying to steer Elvis back towards more substantial music. The movie it was featured in, Stay Away, Joe, was a critical and commercial failure, often cited as one of Elvis's worst films. Elvis himself was reportedly embarrassed by the movie's comedic portrayal of Native Americans. The song is Going Home. It was written by Joy Byers, a songwriter who provided Elvis with several quality songs during his mid-60s movie period. The movie Stay Away, Joe is a mess. It's a clumsy, unfunny comedy with a nonsensical plot, but hidden within its 102-minute runtime is this gem of a song. Going Home is a beautiful, folk-tinged ballad. It's a song about longing, about returning to a place of comfort and belonging. The recording itself is a showcase for the Nashville A-Team. The arrangement is simple and elegant. A gentle acoustic guitar provides the foundation. A harmonica, played by the great Charlie McCoy, weaves a soulful, lonely melody throughout the track. The playing is understated and tasteful. It creates a warm, intimate atmosphere. It's the kind of arrangement that gives a singer room to shine. And Elvis shines. His vocal is tender and heartfelt. By 1967, he was deeply unhappy with his movie career. He was tired of the silly scripts and the weak songs. You can hear that weariness in his voice, but it's channeled into a sense of genuine emotion. When he sings Going Home to the Things I Understand, it feels real. It feels like he's singing about his own desire to escape Hollywood and return to the music that he loved. The song appears in a brief, quiet moment in the film. His character, Joe Lightcloud, sits by a campfire and sings it. For a few minutes, the ridiculous comedy stops, and there's a moment of genuine heart. It's a stark contrast to the rest of the movie. The song is too good, too sincere for the film that surrounds it. The reason Going Home is forgotten is simple. It's chained to Stay Away, Joe. The movie was so bad that the entire soundtrack was tainted by association. The song was never released as a single. It was just one of the few tracks on a soundtrack EP that nobody bought. It was buried. It's a classic case of a great performance being lost in a terrible project. Listening to Going Home today, divorced from the film, is a revelation. It's a reminder of Elvis's incredible talent as a ballad singer. He could take a simple song and infuse it with deep feeling. It's also a glimpse of the musical direction he would soon take. The rootsy folk country sound of Going Home points directly towards the legendary 1969 Memphis sessions that would produce hits like Suspicious Minds and In the Ghetto. It was a sign that the real Elvis was still there, waiting for the chance to break free from the constraints of Hollywood. It's a beautiful song that deserved a much better fate. Number 17 was This the Most Honest, song he sang in the 60s. The recording session took place on June 25th, 1961 at RCA Studio B in Nashville. It was a marathon session that lasted all night. This particular song was recorded in the early hours of the morning, around 4 a.m. The song was written by the legendary songwriting duo Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann. They wrote many hits for Elvis, including Viva Las Vegas and Suspicion. Elvis reportedly loved the song so much he recorded it with an unusual level of focus and intensity. The song is Doing the Best I Can. It's from the movie Blue Hawaii. This film was a massive blockbuster, one of the biggest of Elvis's career. The soundtrack album spent 20 weeks at number 1 on the charts, but it's mostly remembered for upbeat, tropical-themed songs like Rock a Hula Baby and the classic ballad Can't Help Falling in Love. Buried on the second side of that album is Doing the Best I Can, a dark, brooding, and deeply emotional blues ballad. The song is a masterpiece of songwriting. It's a confession of failure and regret from a man who has lost the love of his life. The lyrics are raw and honest. I know I'm not the man you want me to be, but I'm doing the best I can. It's a vulnerable, painful admission. Pomus and Schumann were experts at writing with this kind of emotional depth. You know, they weren't just writing pop songs, they were writing miniature dramas. You know, the musical arrangement is sparse and perfect. It's built around Floyd Kramer's simple, melancholic piano part. The rest of the band, including Scotty Moore on guitar and the Jordanaires on backing vocals, provides a subtle, supportive backdrop. The focus is entirely on the vocal. And what a vocal it is. This is one of Elvis's greatest studio performances. He sings with a quiet, restrained intensity that is absolutely heartbreaking. You can hear the pain in his voice. He's not over singing or being melodramatic. He's living the lyric. The story goes that Elvis insisted the lights in the studio be turned down low for this take. He wanted to create the right mood. The result is a performance of stunning intimacy and power. It feels less like a recording and more like you're eavesdropping on a private moment of grief. In the movie, the song is used effectively. Elvis's character, Chad Gates, has a falling out with his girlfriend. He sings the song alone at a piano in a quiet bar. The scene captures the song's somber mood, but like so many of these songs, it's bigger than the movie. The light, frothy plot of Blue Hawaii doesn't really earn a moment of such profound sadness. Doing the Best I Can was completely overshadowed by the massive success of Can't Help Falling in Love. That became the defining ballad from the film, and one of Elvis's signature songs. A dark, depressing blues number stood no chance against it. It remained an album track beloved by diehard fans, but largely unknown to the general public. It's a shame because Doing the Best I Can is a perfect example of Elvis's skill as a blues and ballad singer. It shows his ability to interpret a lyric and convey deep emotion. It's a mature, adult performance that stands in stark contrast to the happy-go-lucky image he was projecting in his movies. It's a reminder that even at the height of his movie phase, he was still one of the greatest singers in the world. Number 16, did Elvis record a protest song? This track was laid down on August 22nd, 1968 at United Western Recorders in Hollywood. The session was part of the soundtrack for his final dramatic film. The song was written by Mac Davis and Billy Strange, who were writing some of Elvis's most contemporary material at the time. The song's lyrics were unusually political for Elvis, leading to some concern from his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, that it might be too controversial. The song is Clean Up Your Own Backyard. It appeared in the movie The Trouble with Girls. In the film, Elvis plays Walter Hale, the manager of a traveling Chautauqua show in the 1920s. The movie is a quirky period piece, and it was a box office disappointment, but the song, which plays over the opening credits, is one of the most interesting and powerful of his late career recordings. Clean Up Your Own Backyard is a piece of social commentary. It's a swampy blues rock number with a funky groove. The lyrics are a direct message to a society that is quick to judge others. Armchair quarterbacks are passing the buck to the ones who are out on the field. It talks about gossip, hypocrisy, and the need for people to look at their own faults before criticizing others. Before you point your finger, you should clean up your own backyard. This was a bold statement for Elvis in 1968. The country was in turmoil over the Vietnam War, civil rights, and a growing generation gap. Most mainstream entertainers avoided taking any kind of political stance. Elvis had always been one of them, but here he's singing a song with a real message. It's not overtly political in a partisan sense, but it's a clear call for personal responsibility and a critique of hypocrisy. The musical performance is fantastic. The track was recorded with members of the legendary Wrecking Crew, the top session musicians in Los Angeles. The bass line is funky and driving, the guitars are gritty. A gospel-style female chorus adds to the power of the track. It has the same kind of rootsy, soulful feel as the music he was making for his 68 comeback special around the same time. Elvis's vocal is full of swagger and conviction. He delivers the lines with a bluesy growl. He sounds engaged and passionate. He believes in what he's singing. This isn't the happy-go-lucky movie Elvis. This is the artist who is reconnecting with his musical roots and finding his voice again. The song was a perfect fit for the man who was in the process of reclaiming his crown as the king of rock and roll. The song was released as a single and was a moderate hit, reaching number 35 on the charts, but it deserved to be bigger. The movie it was attached to, The Trouble with Girls, came and went with little notice. The song was quickly forgotten in the wake of the massive hits that would come from his Memphis sessions just a few months later, like Suspicious Minds. Clean Up Your Own Backyard is a vital track in the Elvis catalog. It shows his evolution as an artist. It's a tough, funky, and intelligent song. It proves that he was paying attention to the changing world around him. He wasn't just a nostalgia act, he was a contemporary artist with something to say. It's a powerful song that feels just as relevant today as it did in 1968. Number 15 was This the Best Song Buried in the Worst Movie. This song was recorded on May 26, 1963 at RCA Studio B in Nashville. The session featured a mix of Elvis's regular band and Nashville's finest session players. The song was written by the great Doc Pomus in collaboration with Mort Schumann. It was originally intended as a standalone single, a serious follow-up to his recent hits. But it was never released that way. Instead, it was shelved for 2 years. The song is Long Lonely Highway. And it was eventually unearthed for the movie Tickle Me. This 1965 film is infamous in the Elvis canon. The studio, Allied Artists, was on the verge of bankruptcy. To save money, Colonel Parker made an unprecedented deal. They would shoot a new movie, but create the soundtrack entirely out of previously recorded, unreleased songs from Elvis's vault. There would be no new recording sessions. It was a cost-cutting measure, and it resulted in a bizarre, disjointed soundtrack. Long Lonely Highway is the standout track from that cobbled-together album. It's a fantastic piece of folk rock with a bluesy edge. It's a road song, a classic American archetype. The lyrics tell the story of a man who is destined to wander, always moving on. Gotta keep moving, the grass is always greener on the other side. It's a theme that resonated with Elvis's own life, a life spent on the road, moving from town to town. The recording is a classic example of the Nashville sound, but with a raw energy that was often missing from Elvis's movie songs. The acoustic guitar provides a relentless, driving rhythm. A wailing harmonica adds a touch of bluesy desperation. The bass and drums are locked into a tight, propulsive groove. It's a track that moves. Elvis's vocal is superb. He sings with a sense of urgency and weariness. There's a grit in his voice. This isn't the smooth pop crooner of Blue Hawaii. This is the rock and roller, the bluesman. You can feel the dust of the road in his performance. He connects with the song's theme of restless wandering on a deep personal level. It feels authentic, but its fate was sealed by its inclusion in Tickle Me. The movie is an absurd slapstick comedy. Elvis plays a singing rodeo rider who takes a job at a fitness spa for models. It has nothing to do with the lonely, existential mood of Long Lonely Highway. The song is completely out of place. It's a serious piece of music dropped into a cartoon. Because it was part of this bizarre bargain bin project, the song was never given a proper chance. It was released on the Tickle Me EP, but it received no promotion as a single. It was treated as a throwaway, an afterthought. It was lost, buried in one of his most forgettable films. Listening to Long Lonely Highway today is a frustrating experience. You can hear the hit that it could have been. If it had been released as a single in 1963, when it was recorded, it would have fit perfectly on the radio alongside the early work of artists like Bob Dylan and the Animals. It was a modern, relevant sound. Instead, it was held back and then wasted on a silly movie. It's a powerful song that serves as a perfect example of the musical opportunities that were squandered during Elvis's Hollywood years. Number 14, Can a Song Be Both Psychedelic and Forgotten? The master take for this track was recorded on March 7th, 1968, at the Western Recorder Studio in Hollywood. The song was co-written by Billy Strange and Mac Davis, a team that was trying to push Elvis in a more modern direction. The recording session was experimental, using studio effects like phasing and unusual instrumentation to create a strange, disorienting sound, and Elvis was so intrigued by the song's weirdness that he embraced the challenge. The song is Edge of Reality. It was featured in the movie Live a Little, Love a Little, a film that was a departure from the usual Elvis formula. It was a more sophisticated, adult-themed comedy, but it was too strange for many of Elvis's fans, and it flopped at the box office. The song itself is one of the most bizarre and brilliant recordings of his career. It is pure late 60s psychedelia. The song starts with a strange, ominous, a cappella intro from a female chorus singing in a minor key. Then a harpsichord and a fuzzy bass line kick in. The rhythm is frantic and disjointed. The lyrics are surreal and dreamlike. I walk along a thin line, darling. Dark shadows follow me. It's a song about losing your grip on sanity, about the line between the real world and a world of illusion. Elvis's vocal performance is incredible. He throws himself into the song's madness. He sings in a dramatic, almost operatic style. His voice swoops and soars. He uses his full range, from deep growls to high, soaring notes. He's not just singing the song, he's acting it out. It's a wild, uninhibited performance that is unlike anything else he ever recorded. The production is a key part of the song's power. The use of studio effects is heavy but effective. The phasing on the drums gives them a swirling underwater sound. The strange harmonies and the sudden changes in tempo and dynamics create a sense of unease and disorientation. It's a sonic landscape that perfectly matches the song's lyrical theme. This was not the work of a man going through the motions. This was an artist taking a risk. In the movie, Edge of Reality is used in a dream sequence. Elvis's character has a bizarre nightmare, and the song provides the soundtrack. It's one of the few times a movie song's placement was actually inspired. The surreal visuals of the dream sequence are a perfect match for the song's psychedelic sound. But the song and the movie were too weird for 1968 audiences. The song was released as the B-side to If I Can Dream, his powerful anthem from the '68 comeback special. All the attention went to the A-side. Edge of Reality was ignored. It was too strange, too dark, too far out. It didn't fit the public's perception of Elvis Presley. Today, Edge of Reality sounds incredibly modern. It's a bold, experimental track that shows Elvis was not afraid to push boundaries. It's a hidden masterpiece of psychedelic pop. It reveals a side of Elvis that was rarely seen the avant-garde artist, the musical adventurer. It's a song that was ahead of its time, a strange and wonderful detour on his musical journey. Number 13, What If His Best Dance Song Was Never a Hit? This song was recorded on June 26, 1967 at RCA Studio B in Nashville. The session was produced by Felton Jarvis and featured many of the same musicians who would later play on his '68 comeback special. The original version of the song was a tight, funky rhythm number. It was written by Mac Davis and the legendary session guitarist Billy Strange. It was relegated to a B-side and largely ignored for over 30 years. The song is A Little Less Conversation. Of course, many people know this song now because of the 2002 remix by Dutch DJ Junkie the 40th, which became a global #1 hit. But the original 1968 recording is a different beast altogether. It's a raw, energetic, and incredibly funky piece of music. It was recorded for the movie Live a Little, Love a Little, the same film that featured Edge of Reality. The original version is a masterclass in tight economical funk. The rhythm section is locked in, the bass line is busy and melodic, driving the song forward. The drums are crisp and powerful, the guitars are sharp and percussive, a blast of horns adds punctuation. It's a stripped down, lean and mean sound. It has more in common with James Brown than with the pop music Elvis was usually recording for his films. Elvis's vocal is pure swagger. He delivers the lyrics with a cool, confident snarl. It's a playful, suggestive performance. The song is a call to action, a plea to stop talking and start loving. Elvis sells it with every ounce of his legendary charisma. He sounds like he's having fun. He's in his element, singing a song with a real groove. The song was recorded during a period of creative resurgence for Elvis. He was just a few months away from taping the '68 comeback special, which would relaunch his career. You can hear that new energy and confidence in A Little Less Conversation. He was tired of the weak movie songs and hungry for real, substantial music. This song was a taste of what was to come. In the movie, the song is part of a party scene. It works well, but the film itself was a flop, so the song went down with the ship. It was released as the B-side to Almost in Love, a pleasant but unremarkable ballad. The single failed to make a major impact on the charts. A Little Less Conversation was quickly forgotten, a funky footnote in his vast discography. It wasn't until the Junkie the 40th remix that the world rediscovered the song's power. The remix added a heavy electronic beat and turned it into a dance floor anthem for a new generation. But the magic was always there in the original recording. The groove, the energy, the incredible vocal performance. The 1968 version is tougher, rawer, and for many fans, superior to the famous remix. It's a crime that it took over 30 years for the world to catch on to what a brilliant track it was. You know, it's a forgotten funk classic that proves Elvis could groove with the very best of them. Number 12, could a song about a teddy bear be a rock and roll anthem? The recording session for this song was on January 16th, 1957 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. This was for his second motion picture. The song was written by Cal Mann and Bernie Lowe after they were specifically asked to write a song about a teddy bear to tie in with Elvis's popular image. Elvis himself reportedly thought the idea was silly at first, but he transformed the song in the studio into something tough and exciting. The song is Let Me Be Your Teddy Bear. It's from the movie Loving You. The song was a massive hit, a #1 smash across the board. So how can it be considered forgotten? It's forgotten in the sense that its quality as a pure rock and roll track is often overlooked because of its cutesy title and theme. It's dismissed as a novelty song, but it's actually a perfectly constructed piece of 1950s rock and roll. The track explodes from the speakers. It's driven by DJ Fontana's powerful, shuffling drum beat. The bass is pumping. Scotty Moore delivers a classic, sharp-edged guitar solo. The Jordanaires provide their signature oohs and ahs, but they sound more like a rock and roll gang than a gospel quartet here. The whole track has a raw, driving energy. It's a 2-minute blast of pure adrenaline. The lyrics are simple, almost childlike. Baby, let me be your loving teddy bear. Put a chain around my neck and lead me anywhere. On paper, it looks ridiculous. But Elvis sells it with a combination of charm and swagger. He's not singing it like a nursery rhyme. He sings it with a bluesy, suggestive edge. There's a wink in his voice. He takes the silly premise and makes it cool. He turns a song about a stuffed animal into a declaration of rock and roll rebellion. His vocal performance is a marvel of rhythm and timing. He plays with the phrasing, pushing and pulling against the beat. He uses hiccups, growls, and shouts to add excitement. It's a masterful vocal from a singer at the absolute peak of his powers. He understood instinctively how to make a record jump. In the movie Loving You, the song is a major performance number. Elvis, clad in a now iconic outfit, performs the song on a television broadcast. The performance is electrifying. It captures the raw energy that made him a superstar. The song was a perfect vehicle for his onstage persona. But over the years, Teddy Bear has been overshadowed by his more serious rock and roll anthems like Jailhouse Rock and Hound Dog. Its title makes it seem like a lightweight novelty. It's the kind of song that gets put on children's compilations. But that does a huge disservice to the recording itself. It is a powerful, perfectly executed rock and roll record. It's a testament to Elvis's unique ability to take any material, no matter how silly, and transform it into something vital and exciting through the sheer force of his talent and personality. It's a rock and roll classic hiding in plain sight. Number 11. Why was his toughest movie song never a single? This track was recorded on May 5th, 1960 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. It was one of the first sessions after his return from the Army. The song was written by the legendary team of Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller, the same duo behind Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock. They wrote the song specifically for the movie, aiming for a sound that was tougher and more aggressive than his recent pop-oriented hits. The song is King of the Whole Wide World. It's from the movie Kid Galahad, in which Elvis plays a boxer. The song is a blast of pure, uncut rock and roll. It's a boastful, swaggering anthem that perfectly fits the character of a confident young fighter. It's also one of the hardest rocking tracks he recorded in the 1960s. The recording is a scorcher. It's built on a driving, almost frantic rhythm. Tiny timbrel, and Scotty Moore lay down a powerful guitar riff. DJ Fontana's drumming is relentless. The secret weapon of the track is the saxophone played by Boots Randolph. He delivers a wild, screaming solo that pushes the energy level through the roof. The whole band is on fire. It sounds like they were thrilled to be playing real rock and roll again after the more sedate material from his first post-army film, Guy Blues. And Elvis's vocal is a force of nature. He attacks the song with gusto. He's full of confidence and bravado. A poor man's a king in his own backyard. He can't be barred. He can thank his lucky stars. He snarls, he shouts, he preaches. This is the Elvis that changed the world, the untamed musical rebel. The 2 years in the army hadn't dulled his edge one bit. If anything, he sounded hungrier than ever. The song is used brilliantly in the movie. It plays over the opening credits as Elvis's character returns to his rustic home in the mountains. It establishes his character as a free spirit, a man who lives by his own rules. It's a perfect marriage of song and image. So why is this powerhouse track so often overlooked? The answer lies in its release format. It was never issued as a single in the United States. Instead, it was part of a 6-song EP that was released to promote the movie. The EP sold well, but the song never got the radio airplay it would have received as a single. It never had the chance to become a chart-topping hit. In the UK, it was released as a single and went to #1, proving its commercial potential. But in his home country, it remained a deep cut. As the 60s progressed, Elvis moved further and further away from this kind of raw rock and roll. The soundtracks became dominated by pop ballads and novelty tunes. King of the Whole Wide World stands as a powerful reminder of what he was capable of when given the right material. It's a tough, exciting, and brilliantly performed rock and roll song. It's a forgotten classic from a time when the King was proving he could still rock as hard as anyone. Number 10. Can a song from a bad movie predict the future? The recording date was March 27th, 1962, at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. The song was written by Don Robertson, a songwriter and pianist who had a long and fruitful relationship with Elvis. Robertson was known for his sensitive, introspective ballads, and this song was no exception. Elvis was a huge admirer of Robertson's work and always treated his songs with great care and respect. The song is I'm Not the Marrying Kind. It comes from the movie Follow That Dream. We've already visited this movie for its gentle title track, but this song is a different beast entirely. It's a moody, introspective, and surprisingly complex song that hints at the more mature country politan sound Elvis would explore in his later career. The song is a declaration of independence from a man who is afraid of commitment. No, I'm not the marrying kind. I'll be nobody's Valentine. On the surface, it fits the happy-go-lucky character Elvis plays in the film, but the song has a deeper sadness to it. The melody is melancholic, and the arrangement is spare and haunting. It's built around a simple acoustic guitar figure and a lonely-sounding harmonica. Elvis's vocal is remarkable. He sings it with a quiet, thoughtful delivery. There's a sense of resignation in his voice. He's not being boastful about his freedom. He's stating it as a sad fact of his life. It's a nuanced and mature performance. He sounds like a man who has been on the road for a long time and has learned to be alone. It's a world away from the boyish charm of his early hits. The song foreshadows the kind of material he would seek out in the late 60s and 70s. It's a character study, a story song with real emotional depth. It's a country song at its heart, both in its theme and its sound. It has more in common with the work of artists like Marty Robbins or Johnny Cash than it does with the pop music that was dominating the charts. I'm Not the Marrying Kind was buried on the Follow That Dream EP. It was the 4th track, the last song on the record. The title track got all the attention. This quiet, sad song was easily overlooked. It didn't have a catchy hook or an upbeat tempo. It was a song for grown-ups, and the Elvis movie machine was increasingly aimed at a younger audience. Listening to it today, the song feels incredibly fresh. It's a timeless piece of country folk. It's a testament to Elvis's interpretive skills. He could take a song and find the emotional truth in it, even if that truth was at odds with the happy-go-lucky image he was being paid to project. I'm Not the Marrying Kind is a lost classic, a quiet gem that shows the heart of a country singer beating beneath the Hollywood veneer. Number 9. What if a silly song was actually a blues workout? This song was recorded on February 12th, 1964 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. It was take number 10 that was chosen for the master. The song was written by Bill Giant, Bernie Baum, and Florence Kay, a team of professional songwriters who provided a huge amount of material for Elvis's mid-60s movies. Most of their songs were generic and forgettable, but on this day, something different happened. The song is It's a Wonderful World. It comes from the movie Roostabout, where Elvis plays a carnival worker. The movie is standard mid-60s Elvis fare. The title of the song sounds like it should be a schmaltzy ballad. but it is anything but. It's a hard, driving, up-tempo blues number that features one of Elvis's most energetic and uninhibited vocal performances of the era. The track kicks off with a jangling guitar riff and a pumping rhythm section. The band is cooking. It has the feel of a live in the studio jam session. The song is a simple 12-bar blues, the most basic of rock and roll structures. This simple framework gives Elvis and the band the freedom to let loose. And Elvis lets loose. He sings the song with a raw, joyful abandon. The lyrics are simple, a celebration of finding love. But it's the way he sings them that matters. He's full of energy, his voice cracking with excitement. He ad-libs, he shouts, he laughs. At one point, he lets out a full-throated hoo of pure exhilaration. He sounds like he's having the time of his life. The instrumental break features a blistering guitar solo reportedly played by the legendary session man Billy Strange. It's a wild, slightly distorted solo that adds to the song's raw garage band feel. This isn't the polished, clean sound of most Hollywood recordings. It's gritty and exciting. The song appears in a carnival scene in the movie. It's an upbeat performance number that fits the setting. But the recording has an energy that transcends the film. It feels like a moment of rebellion against the blandness of the material he was usually given. It's as if he and the band decided, let's forget the movie and just play some rock and roll. It's a Wonderful World was just another track on the Roostabout soundtrack album. It was never a single. It was overshadowed by the movie's big ballad, Big Love, Big Heartache. Fans of the album knew it was a killer track, but it never reached a wider audience. It's a song that deserves to be rediscovered. It's a perfect example of how Elvis could take even the most generic material and elevate it through his performance. He turns a simple, written-to-order movie song into a thrilling piece of blues rock. It's the sound of the king cutting loose and reminding everyone that even in the middle of his Hollywood slumber, he could still rock the house down. Number 8, was this his most underrated love song? The song was recorded on August 30th, 1960 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. The session was for his first film after G.I. Blues. This song was penned by the husband and wife songwriting team of Boudleaux and Felice Bryant. They were legendary country songwriters best known for writing massive hits for the Everly Brothers like Bye Bye Love and All I Have to Do Is Dream. The song is I'll Be There If You Ever Want Me. It was featured in the movie Wild in the Country, a film where Elvis played a troubled young writer. The song is not actually performed by Elvis in the movie. It plays on a jukebox in a bar scene. This might be one reason it's so overlooked. It's a beautiful, gentle, and utterly sincere country ballad. The recording is a model of taste and restraint. It's an acoustic-based track with a simple, shuffling rhythm. The legendary Hank Garland plays a lovely melodic guitar part. Floyd Kramer's piano provides gentle fills. The Jordanaires' harmonies are soft and understated. The whole production is warm and intimate. It feels like a classic country record from the 1950s. The lyrics are a simple, direct promise of devotion. There's no mountain I can't climb. For you, I'd swim the ocean blue. It's a classic country sentiment, expressed with sincerity and heart. The Bryants were masters of this kind of simple, powerful songwriting. Elvis's vocal is the heart of the record. He sings with a tenderness and vulnerability that is deeply moving. He doesn't push his voice. He delivers the lyrics with a gentle conversational ease. There's a quiet confidence in his performance. He's not trying to impress you with his vocal power. He's trying to communicate a genuine emotion. It's a performance of great subtlety and grace. Because it was just a background song in the movie and was included on a 4-song EP, I'll Be There never got the attention it deserved. It was a victim of the movie music machine, which demanded upbeat numbers and big ballads. A quiet, heartfelt country song like this was easy to miss. It's a shame because it's one of the finest country performances of his career. It shows his deep love and understanding of the genre. He was as comfortable singing a Boudleaux and Felice Bryant song as he was singing a Lieber and Stoller rocker. It showed his incredible versatility as an artist. I'll Be There is a hidden treasure, a perfect country love song performed by one of the greatest singers of all time. It's a song that deserves to be heard, not just on a jukebox in a forgotten movie, but as a standalone masterpiece. Number 7. Could a song title be more ironic? The recording session was on July 2nd, 1963 at RCA Studio B in Nashville. The song was written by Ruth Batchelor and Bob Roberts. It was destined for a movie that would become a prime example of the creative rot that had set into Elvis's film career. The irony of the song's title, when compared to the quality of the film, is staggering. The song is It's a Wonderful Life. No, not the classic Frank Capra film. This is a song from the 1964 movie Viva Las Vegas. That movie and its title track are iconic. But the soundtrack album is a mixed bag, and on that album is this bizarre, almost surreal number. It's a Wonderful Life is a slow, ponderous ballad with a pseudo-philosophical lyric. A friendly bird, a friendly tree, a friendly star up in the sky. It's so simple and naive that it borders on self-parody. The arrangement is strange. It has a folk-like acoustic guitar part, but it's drenched in echo. There's a tinkling piano and a bizarre whistling sound that floats in and out of the track. The Jordanaires provide their usual smooth harmonies, but they sound like they're singing in a cathedral. The whole thing has a dreamy, disconnected feel. Elvis's performance is what makes the song so fascinating. He seems to be taking it completely seriously. He sings the simplistic lyrics with a deep, sonorous gravity. His voice is beautiful, of course. It's rich and resonant, but there's a detachment in his performance. It's as if he's trying to find some meaning in the vacuous lyrics, but he can't quite get there. He sounds like a man singing a hymn he doesn't believe in. The song appears in a truly strange scene in Viva Las Vegas. Elvis sings it to Anne Margaret as they float in a canoe at night. The scene is meant to be romantic, but it comes across as stilted and awkward. The song's strange, ethereal quality makes the scene feel even more unreal. It's a Wonderful Life is forgotten for good reason. It's a weird song. It's not a rocker. It's not a great ballad. It's not a fun novelty number. It's just strange. It's a perfect example of the kind of bizarre, empty material he was being forced to record in the mid-60s. The songwriters were trying to write something profound, but they ended up with something profoundly silly. So why is it on this list? Because it's so uniquely bad and so fascinatingly strange that it becomes amazing. It's a snapshot of a moment in time when the Elvis movie machine was running on fumes. It's a testament to his professionalism that he could take a song like this and deliver a vocally flawless performance. It's a song that is so misguided, so out of touch, that it becomes a piece of unintentional surrealist art. It's a Wonderful Life. Listening to this song, you have to wonder if Elvis thought so at the time. Number 6. What was the song Elvis recorded lying on the floor? This recording was made on September 22nd, 1966, at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. The song was written by Sid Tepper and Roy C. Bennett, a prolific songwriting duo who wrote over 40 songs for Elvis. The session was for the movie Easy Come, Easy Go. Elvis was reportedly so uninspired by the song that he lay down on his back on the studio floor and sang his vocal from there, just to amuse himself and the band. He nailed it in one take. The song is Yoga Is as Yoga Does. It is, without a doubt, one of the most absurd and ridiculous songs Elvis Presley ever recorded. It is a novelty song of the highest order. The movie Easy Come, Easy Go is a contender for his worst film, and this song is its centerpiece of silliness. In the film, he performs the song with a group of women in a yoga class. The scene is excruciatingly bad. The song is a duet with Elsa Lanchester, the actress famous for playing the Bride of Frankenstein. The lyrics are a nonsensical debate about the merits of yoga versus a down-home country philosophy. You tell me that yoga is the thing, but all it does for me is make me swing. The melody is a clunky, pa-pa style tune. It's objectively a terrible song. So why is it amazing? Because of the story behind it and because of what it reveals about Elvis's state of mind. By 1966, he was at his lowest point professionally. He despised the movies he was making and the songs he was forced to sing. Yoga Is As Yoga Does represents the absolute nadir of his recording career. His response to this awful material was not to throw a tantrum, but to mock it with his performance. Lying on the floor to sing the vocal was an act of passive-aggressive rebellion. It was his way of showing his contempt for the material while still fulfilling his contractual obligations. And the amazing thing is, the vocal is perfectly fine. He's in tune, he's in time, he's a professional, even when he's lying down. The single take is a testament to his incredible natural talent. He could sing this junk in his sleep, or in this case, while pretending to be asleep. Listening to the song now is a strange experience. It's musically worthless, but as a historical document, it's priceless. It captures the moment when Elvis hit rock bottom. It's the sound of a genius being forced to create garbage. And his reaction to that situation, a quiet, sarcastic protest, makes the story of the song more compelling than the song itself. It's a song so bad, it's a legend. It's a monument to his frustration and his professionalism. It's the sound of a king who has been sent to a jester's court and has decided to play the part with a secret, cynical smile. Number 5, could a song from a forgotten movie be a perfect pop gem? The song was recorded on February 27, 1962, at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. The writers were the talented duo of Sherman Edwards and Sid Wayne. The session was for the movie It Happened at the World's Fair, a film primarily remembered for featuring a young Kurt Russell in a small role where he gets to kick Elvis in the shin. The song is One Track Heart. It's a short, punchy, and incredibly catchy piece of pure pop rock. In a movie filled with mostly forgettable tunes, One Track Heart stands out as a perfectly crafted gem. It's a song that should have been a much bigger hit. The track is a marvel of efficiency. It clocks in at just over 2 minutes, and not a second is wasted. It's built on a classic chugging rock and roll rhythm reminiscent of Buddy Holly. The guitar work is clean and melodic. A saxophone provides a punchy, energetic solo. The whole arrangement is tight and focused. It's a perfect example of the kind of high-quality pop rock that was coming out of the Brill Building in New York at the time. The lyrics are clever and fun. It uses the metaphor of a train on a single track to describe a man who is completely devoted to one woman. I got a one-track heart and a one-track mind, and I'm heading for a girl that's one of a kind. It's a simple, effective idea, and the lyrics are full of playful train-related puns. Elvis's vocal performance is a delight. He sounds like he's having a great time. He sings with a light, breezy confidence. His phrasing is impeccable. He navigates the song's tricky, fast-paced melody with effortless skill. It's a pure pop vocal full of charm and personality. In the movie, the song is a performance number. Elvis sings it on a small stage at the World's Fair. It's a fun, energetic scene that showcases his charisma. But the song is much better than the movie it's in. It Happened at the World's Fair is a flimsy, forgettable film. The soundtrack was released as a full album, but it wasn't one of his biggest sellers. One Track Heart was never released as a single. It was just an album track, and as a result, it was largely forgotten. This is a real shame. If it had been released as a single, it's easy to imagine it becoming a huge hit. It has all the ingredients of a classic pop record, a great melody, a catchy chorus, a clever lyric, and a fantastic vocal performance. It's a song that proves that even in the midst of the movie grind, Elvis and his team were capable of producing moments of pure pop perfection. It's a lost classic that deserves to be rediscovered by anyone who loves well-crafted, joyful rock and roll. Number 4, what does pure joy sound like? This song was recorded on March 22nd, 1961 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. The song was written by the legendary Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann. It was originally recorded by the Coasters. The session was for the Blue Hawaii soundtrack, and the band was a mix of Nashville and Hollywood A-listers, all playing together to create something truly special. The song is Rock a Hula Baby. Yes, it has a silly title. Yes, it's from Blue Hawaii, the epitome of the travelogue Elvis movie. But if you can get past that, you will find one of the most joyous, energetic, and brilliantly unhinged rock and roll recordings of his entire career. The song is a musical melting pot. It combines a Hawaiian-style steel guitar with a hard-rocking, almost Bo Diddley-esque beat. It's a fusion of tropical music and pure rock and roll. The result is something utterly unique and incredibly exciting. The rhythm is frantic and infectious. The bass and drums are pounding. The steel guitar wails. The Jordanaires shout, "Hula, hula, rock a hula," like a manic Greek chorus. And at the center of this glorious noise is Elvis. He is on fire. His vocal is a wild, joyful explosion. He whoops, he hollers, he stutters. He sounds completely possessed by the music. He's not just singing the song, he's attacking it. The lyrics are nonsense, a string of rhyming couplets about a rocking hula girl. It doesn't matter. The sound is everything. The session for Rock a Hula Baby was reportedly a wild affair. The musicians were packed into the studio, and the energy was high. Elvis fed off that energy and pushed the band to play harder and faster. The result is a recording that feels like it's about to fly off the rails at any moment. It's the sound of pure, unadulterated fun. The song was released as a double-A-sided single with Can't Help Falling in Love. While the ballad became an all-time classic, Rock a Hula Baby was also a huge hit in its own right. So, why is it on a forgotten list? Because, like Teddy Bear, it has been dismissed over the years as a silly novelty song. Its goofy title and its association with the kitschy Blue Hawaii movie have caused people to overlook its musical brilliance. But Rock a Hula Baby is a masterpiece of rock and roll energy. It's a testament to Elvis's ability to inject any song with a dose of pure primal excitement. It's a wild, chaotic, and wonderful record. It's the sound of a man who, despite being a Hollywood movie star, was still at his heart a rock and roll rebel. It's the sound of joy. Number 3, could a ballad from a Western be one of his best vocals? The song was recorded on October 1st, 1960 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. The writers were the great team of Burt Bacharach and Hal David, who would go on to write countless classic hits for artists like Dionne Warwick. This was one of their earliest collaborations to be recorded by a major star. The session was for the movie Flaming Star, a serious Western drama where Elvis played a rare, non-singing role, except for 2 songs. The song is so close, yet so far from paradise. It's a stunningly beautiful and sophisticated ballad. In a career filled with great ballads, this one is a true standout, yet it is almost completely unknown. The movie Flaming Star was a drama, not a musical. The producers decided to include only 2 songs, sung over the opening credits, and in a brief campfire scene, so as not to distract from the story. This meant there was no soundtrack album released. The song itself is a masterpiece of pop songwriting. Bacharach's melody is complex and beautiful, full of unexpected harmonic twists and turns. Hal David's lyric is a poignant reflection on a love that is just out of reach. It's a mature adult song about a complex emotion. This was not the simple teenage love of his early hits. This was something deeper. The arrangement is gorgeous. It's a lush orchestral production, but it's done with incredible taste. The strings swell and recede, creating a sense of drama and longing. A gentle, Latin-influenced rhythm provides a soft pulse. The focus, as it should be, is on the melody and the vocal, and Elvis's vocal is simply breathtaking. He navigates Bacharach's challenging melody with effortless grace. His voice is rich, warm, and full of emotion. He sings with a quiet, restrained passion that is incredibly powerful. He understands the song's emotional core and delivers a performance of great depth and sensitivity. It is, without exaggeration, one of the most beautiful vocal performances of his career. The reason So Close Yet So Far is forgotten is due to its odd release history. Because there was no Flaming Star soundtrack album, the song was eventually released on a compilation album called Elvis for Everyone in 1965, a full 5 years after it was recorded. The album was a hodgepodge of leftover tracks, and the song got completely lost. It was never a single. It was never promoted. It's a true tragedy that the song is not better known. It's a perfect collaboration between one of the greatest singers of all time and one of the greatest songwriting teams of all time. It showed the kind of sophisticated adult contemporary music that Elvis was capable of making. It's a glimpse of a musical path he could have taken, a path of artistic growth and maturity. It's a lost masterpiece, a stunningly beautiful song that deserves to be ranked among his very best. Number 2, did Elvis make a political statement about his own career? This song was recorded on January 15, 1969, at American Sound Studio in Memphis, Tennessee. This was during the legendary sessions that produced Suspicious Minds and In the Ghetto. The song was written by Mac Davis. While it was recorded for a movie, the session was part of his great musical comeback, and the sound is pure, soulful Memphis grit. The song is Change of Habit. It was the title song for his final feature film, where he played a doctor working in a ghetto clinic alongside 3 nuns in street clothes, played by Mary Tyler Moore, Jane Elliott, and Barbara McNair. The movie was an attempt at social relevance, and the song reflects that. But it's also a song that can be read as a powerful statement about Elvis's own life and career at that moment. Change of Habit is a funky, gospel-infused rock song. The band, the legendary Memphis Boys, lays down a deep, soulful groove. The bass is thick and funky. The drums are powerful. The organ swirls. It's the same raw, authentic sound that defined all of the American Sound sessions. This is music with soul. The lyrics are a call for change, for breaking free from old, restrictive ways of thinking. Old ideas, like old shoes, you better change them for the new. If you're in a rut, you've got to move. On the surface, it's about the theme of the movie, the Catholic Church embracing modern ideas. But it's impossible not to hear it as Elvis singing about himself. In January 1969, he was in the process of a massive change of habit. He had just completed the 68 comeback special, where he had thrown off the shackles of his movie career and re-emerged as a vital, relevant rock and roll artist. He was done with the silly movies and the weak songs. He was breaking free from the rut he had been in for years. He was changing his old shoes for new ones. This song was his mission statement. His vocal performance is full of passion and conviction. He sings with a fiery gospel-tinged fervor. He sounds like a man who has been liberated. There's a joy and a power in his voice that had been missing from his movie work for years. He believes every word he is singing because he is living it. The movie Change of Habit was not a huge success. It was the end of an era, and it came and went without much fanfare. The song was released as the B-side to Rubberneckin', another great track from the Memphis sessions. The single was a minor hit, but Change of Habit was largely ignored. But it's a hugely important song in his story. It's the perfect musical capstone to his film career. It's a song from a movie, but it sounds like the music he was making for himself. It's a powerful, funky, and deeply personal song. It's the sound of a man reclaiming his soul and his art. It's a forgotten anthem of personal liberation. Number 1, was this the most powerful vocal performance of his movie years? The date was July 10th, 1963. The studio was Radio Recorders in Hollywood. The song was by the great team of Pomus and Schumann. The movie was Viva Las Vegas, but this song has nothing to do with the glitz and glamour of that film's title track. This is a song of profound darkness and despair. Elvis insisted on recording it with the lights turned off, with just a small spotlight on his face. The session musicians were stunned by the intensity of his performance. The song is I Need Somebody to Lean On. It is, quite simply, one of the most powerful and heartbreaking vocal performances of Elvis Presley's career. It's a slow, minor key blues ballad that feels more like a prayer than a song. It's a raw, naked cry for help from a man at the end of his rope. The arrangement is stark and atmospheric. It's built around a simple, mournful guitar figure and a stand-up bass. A vibraphone adds a ghostly, ethereal quality. The Jordanaires' harmonies are low and somber, like a church choir at a funeral. The production is a masterpiece of mood and restraint. It creates a space for the vocal to exist in all its raw emotional power. The lyrics are a devastating portrait of loneliness. When you're in a town and there's no one around, what a lonely feeling, what a lonely sound. I need some arms to hold me, hold me, hold me tight. Doc Pomus was a brilliant lyricist who often wrote from his own experiences with pain and isolation, and this is one of his most profound and personal works. Elvis's performance is almost difficult to listen to. It is so raw, so real. He sings with a quiet, desperate intensity that will send a shiver down your spine. His voice is filled with pain and vulnerability. There are moments when it almost cracks with emotion. This is not acting. This is not a performance. This is a man pouring his own loneliness and despair into a song. The session musicians later said they had never seen him so emotionally invested in a recording. In the movie Viva Las Vegas, the song is used in a quiet, contemplative scene. Elvis's character, Lucky Jackson, is down on his luck and sings the song alone in an empty showroom. For a few minutes, the fun, fast-paced movie stops, and we are given this moment of stunning, emotional depth. It's a scene that is far more powerful than anything else in the film. I Need Somebody to Lean On was buried on the Viva Las Vegas EP. It was completely overshadowed by the bright, optimistic title track. It was too dark, too depressing, too real for an audience that just wanted to see Elvis race cars and win the girl. It was forgotten. But it is perhaps the single greatest forgotten song of his movie career. It is a masterpiece of blues singing. It is a testament to his incredible ability to convey deep, complex emotions. It's a song that cuts through the facade of the movie star and reveals the lonely man underneath. It is the sound of Elvis Presley's soul, and it is absolutely unforgettably amazing.